Hello, welcome to Mesh Learning's version of GCSE Chemistry, the ever-changing Earth, focusing on the atmosphere. So we've got quite a few objectives today, but some of them are going to be done together, so don't get overwhelmed by how much we've got to cover. Some of these are covered together in tandem, like these two, these, and so on. All right, so we're going to get stuck in with the formation of the atmosphere, because understanding where we are is critical to understanding where we could be and whether that is hospitable or not. So if we look at the journey, there are critical dates: 4.6 billion years ago, 3.5 billion years ago, 3 billion years ago, 2, 0.5, 0.2, and now. So if we have a look at the start of our journey, the Earth was populated by volcanoes and extreme kind of molten activity, the magma coming from through the crust, or even the crust not even being fully formed. And then we had a potentially catastrophic event, had life been there, where a entity the size of our moon crashed into us. That's the most popular theory. Another theory is that the moon formed from the remnants of the debris from our planet forming, which often is like big old asteroids crashing into each other and superheating up and melting into this kind of beautiful sphere that we live on. But the most popular theory is that we had some large entity crash into us, and then the Earth reformed, and we're of a similar sort of age. As the Earth progressed, volcanic activity, the Earth's crust cooled, and so volcanoes predominantly produced our atmosphere, and lots of expelling huge amounts of CO2, but also water and other things too. And that water was able to then fall as rain and form pools, which eventually, now this is the question: where did life come from? Potentially from other planets. We have found amino acids on asteroids. Very difficult to remove contamination completely, since we build things on Earth, and Earth has lots of microbes and all sorts of other things. But we do believe that we found the key components and some amino acids, which are the basic building blocks for life. And so that photosynthetic organisms would have been the sort of first and early organisms, and organisms tolerant to the high CO2 levels and maybe slightly acidic rain conditions and all sorts of other things. As plants and photosynthetic organisms moved to land, and increased in number, levels of oxygen increased. And you'll see this in a second, and obviously we are at the world we are now. Now that is continuing to change. Since the Industrial Revolution, we've had a more rapid change than, for millions and millions of years. Volcanoes produce huge amounts of material, but we are producing collectively and over time way more. So what you should appreciate, rather, you don't need to know the specific numbers. You need to have an appreciation of the numbers and go, right, what is it now? You definitely need to know those ones. You need to have an appreciation of what was happening in the early atmosphere. So 50% helium.